I met Laura Franklin 2 years ago. Again, she is the World Languages Director for MERLOT. And Rich talked about archives or repositories, or their different names, OER Commons. These are large sites on the internet that have their own lens. That is, they've had some kind of vetting process, because as we all know, the problem about the wild world of the internet is there's a lot of good stuff, but there's a lot of bad stuff. So I actually, she and the team of editors chose French Interactive 2 years ago as the, I don't know what was the award? It was
the Classics Award, MERLOT Classics.
MERLOT Classics Award. They give an award in not exactly an OER, but some kind of a digital pedagogical instrument object on the web. But importantly, it has to meet criteria. So what I thought was important to talk about this as we're developing OERs and pedagogical materials, what are the lenses looking for? We have this new metaphor that he gave us, or what are the different criteria that editorial boards of repositories, what are they looking for?
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, first of all, I want to say I'm so excited to be here. Long before that award was given, for years and years, from Texas French Grammar to many other things that came from the University of Texas at Austin, MERLOT has been watching you, and really we have felt that it's just been superb work. Also, I am the child of a Brazilian mother, so all of the Portuguese materials really are important to me. So for all the languages that you do, we really are watching and reviewing. So no. So what I think I want to start with first, because that's what Carl asked me to do, is to talk about me, because I'm one of you, and I wanted to just say that I work at Northern Virginia Community College, and when I say I work there as a faculty member. I teach French. I teach most of my classes online now. I also teach one class. I'm on campus for one class once a week. It's a hybrid French course at the intermediate level. And so having online resources is extremely important for me. It's not just about textbook, and it's not, having that face-to-face interaction. In the year 2000, the Virginia Community College system got involved with this project that was called MERLOT. And as you look at it here at the website, you can see the third part down, which is Visit a Disciplined Community. We have learning materials in MERLOT everywhere from, I better come closer, agriculture, environmental sciences, biology, chemistry, criminal justice, technical allied health, and down at the bottom there you see world languages. So when they called me to be part of this project, to be the editor of the World Languages Collection in the year 2000, we just all came out to California together and sat around a table, and we talked about how are we going to not only develop a nice collection of learning materials in MERLOT, which is really a referatory. It's not really a repository. The materials don't really reside in MERLOT. We point out to them, and then we do this peer review process. And basically what happened was a lot of partners, institutional partners, like whole systems, our Virginia Community College system, California State University, which is the California State University system, which was a partner from the very beginning and really is the sustaining partner of MERLOT right now, and that's why it has its name. MERLOT standing for Multimedia Educational Resource for Learning and Online Teaching. And then, of course, we had Georgia, we had Florida, we had all of these different states come together, and the idea was that you'd have an editor, and then you'd have an editorial board of content experts from all of these universities across the country that would be the ones who would be doing the peer review. So these were all people that were actually working in the field. And I think that's the important point that I have to make, if no other. What you know here is that what you see in world languages reflects our very profession. Okay, so back from the year 2000 until now, you can see, well, maybe you can't see, but down on the bottom we have our metrics, and you can see that there's 98,652 members of MERLOT right now. So we're closing in on 100K, and we're excited about that. What does it mean to be a member of MERLOT? It means that you can add materials. Anything that has a URL you can add to MERLOT. You can make your own personal collection of materials and annotate that personal collection so that you can have one for each one of your different classes. You can contribute materials. You can author materials and put them in there. But you have to have, obviously, a membership to do that. The membership is free. And it costs nothing, and it gets the membership no spam. In fact, if anybody tries to use MERLOT for any kind of a use that is not what I'm describing right now, they get a cease and desist order. And that has happened, where people have tried. For example, because we do have a mailing list, we do have emails available for people to see in here, and if anybody gets any spam, they notify MERLOT, and then that person's told to stop doing that. So, okay, and then in terms of materials themselves, there's about 31,000 materials that are in there right now. So the other thing too that I wanted to say that I think is important, particularly in the context of this audience, is that since I'm one of you, and also on the board of ACTFL at the moment, I really think that it's important for you to use MERLOT for your needs, to disseminate your products, to come out and make sure that your LRC is represented in there. And so any kind of the good things that you're doing, we'll probably find them anyway. You might go in there and be surprised and find your work already in there, like the rich internet applications of CLEAR, and so many different Carla projects and so forth that we do have in here. So and what we really are looking to develop are the less commonly taught. I mean, that to us is of extreme importance. In addition to being interested in getting all of the LRC materials in, you all know about the Star Talk project, and getting all of those language materials into MERLOT is important to us too. So let me just go in here and just show you a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to go to my profile so you can see here. And when you come in here, you'll have a profile as well. And what this basically tells you is all of my different activities that I've been doing in here we go, in MERLOT. The materials I've submitted, the materials I've authored, the comments I've made, and this little feature here called the personal collection, which is something that I think that is an interesting little customizing feature that you all should know about. It also tells you who I am. It tells you where my, what my affiliations are, the organizations that I belong to. MERLOT has a virtual speakers bureau. If you want to be part of that, you can be. You can see that I've got my phone number, fax number, and all of that other stuff available. This is only available to you to see if you're also a member of MERLOT. So I obviously have put my professional numbers and stuff there so people can contact me if they want. Okay, so anyone who is a member of MERLOT has that. Okay, then when you go to Merlot, if you come to communities, you're going to see that Merlot is about people, but it's also about services. Okay, so we have the discipline communities. I mentioned that. You can access each one of them there, and then you'll get learning materials that deal with their topic. So let's go to our topic, which is world languages. Okay, and so on this World Languages portal, I try to get it to represent our profession, and so therefore you see Discover Languages here. ACTFL every year has a video podcast contest, and Merlot supports that and advertises it, and Clear also is very involved with all of the technical parts of that video podcast contest. That is really a language advocacy piece. It just goes out to say why you should study languages, starting on the kindergarten level all the way up through higher ed. And they give cash prizes, so that's really a nice thing. Okay, and what I do try to feature on the World Languages portal are the things that are current in our field. This showcase could be your showcase. A lot of times I'm looking for material for that showcase, and like if you've got something that's coming up that you'd like to see highlighted and have an international audience, you can certainly send me an email, and I'll be happy to accommodate you in that. Okay, we also here in the portal give tips for actually using some of the learning materials that we have in Merlot. So every discipline community has one of these portals. All right, the other thing too, now if I go in here, and I'm just going to put in ACTFL, and this is how you actually access the materials here. Right now, one of the big things that we are stressing in the profession, in our effort to become like a core subject, part of the core. Everybody says we're part of the core, but you know, the realities is tying into the Partner for 21st Century on the skills map. And so ACTFL has its own version of, you know, what's important in terms of world language for the skills map. So I'm going to go to the detail record, and now you can see what a detail of a material record is in Merlot. As you can see, to go to the material, you would go out by clicking up there, and then it'll take us there. I'll go there in a second. It'll also tell us the format it's in, and this is in a PDF. If you want to, if you go to a learning object in Merlot and you like it and you want to add it to your personal collection, there's a little button right here that you can click to make it do that, and it'll go into your specific collection. And then, of course, we all know what this is because we just learned. All right, and so, and then also the other thing that you can learn about any object is whether it's under copyright, whether it's under Creative Commons, and if there is a Creative Commons license, then we get to learn what the license is. So if I just click on Go to Material, it takes me there. All right, and then, okay. And so there's that ACTFL skills map. So you have a PDF of that right there. And so that what we might do is, you know, take this as a learning material to give people an idea of what's going on now with the whole idea of the language class today. If you've seen Marty Abbott present recently, this is mostly what she's going around the country talking about, you know, how to make students leave that old mode of the boring textbook to the equipping students to know how to say what to whom and at what time, what context. I mean, that's the message that the P21 is giving in terms of, you know, rejuvenating our profession, so to speak. So anyway, there's that. So if I want, I can, what I can do is I can just access this material here. If I want, I can make comments about it. I can make a learning assignment that has to do with it. And all of that will be attached to this material, a detail record. All right, so then what if I wanted to see what was great, what were really exemplary learning materials in MERLOT? This is some place that you could go later on and take a look to just get an idea of some of the things that we've given awards to. And our awards are closely aligned to our peer review standards. Our peer review standards are 3. We have the first standard is the content. If the content's no good, then there's no point in going on. We're not going to peer review it. But basically, content means, is it accurate? Is it relevant to today's classroom? Is it truly useful to the student? And then we give it all of the different examples of that. Then the second one would be potential effectiveness for use in teaching and learning. In what kind of a classroom setting would, or not a classroom setting, even an online setting, would a particular material be useful? We rate on that. And then the third one, which is less problematic than it used to be, is ease of use. You know, is it something that's truly easy to use? Are there any kind of technical problems? You know, people tend to check broken links and things like that a little more efficiently than in the early days of MERLOT. That used to be a big area that we used to deal with, and just bad technology. But now we, and also navigation, and everything like that in a complex site, we have less problems with that now. But at any rate, those 3 things will be put together to make a composite score for a peer review. And something that is 5 is a totally outstanding, and we just love it. And also a candidate for the Classics Award that Le Français Interactif won. And then we have where was I going with that? Just all of a sudden just went, it was out of my mind. The 3 criteria, yes, for peer review. We have 2 people do a peer review together. Two content editors will work together to do the peer reviews, and then it's my job as editor to do the composite review, and that's how it happens. All right, so that's one way that you can tell that something is good. And I was going to look at the ones who have won the awards. That's what I was going to do. Here we go. Okay, so you can see here's our latest in 2011. In 2011, we awarded Visualizing Japanese Grammar from George Washington University. They won the Classics Award. Okay, and this is 66 flash animations on grammatical structures in Japanese, and we really tend to want to try, and this is a place where you all can really give us a lot of help, is we really try to get the less commonly taught languages. We've got a lot of things in Spanish, French, etc., but we need to get the less commonly taught languages, and to be able to give them a Classics Award was definitely a great thing. Okay, and so if you go back to that, to About Us, you can just go up, I've mentioned a couple of the classics, but you can see that those things that we consider to be absolutely exemplary. All right, now about the open educational resources. Now I'm going to go back into the portal, and I am going to go, let's see here. To browse learning materials. Okay, this one, back in the day, we used to have an award that was called the Editor's Choice Award. And it was interesting. The Classics Award that we still give is given only by the editorial board, you know, in a certain discipline to a learning material, you know, in their discipline. But then we had on top of that this award that was called the Editor's Choice Award. And the Editor's Choice, though, was, it was voted on by all the editors of MERLOT. And we gave that award about 4 or 5 years, and then it started to be kind of like, well, you know, is this a popularity contest? I mean, you know, is this whoever gives the best pitch for an award? And are we biologists really qualified to give an award in language? And so it went by the wayside, the Editor's Choice Award. But so now, if you win a Classics Award, you're being judged by your peers, and that's the end of the story. Okay, so but back in the day, we had that award, and we gave it to this project that was called Langmedia. And this is what I wanted to say to you. You could make a whole class out of MERLOT learning materials, and Langmedia, it really shows you that. I'm going to go to it. Okay, I don't know how many of you have already seen this collection, but as you can see, you've got the language by country website. You've got Arabic in Jordan. You can go inside a mosque. You can learn etiquette in all of these different countries. It's just amazing, and you always have the same different subjects. You've got basic communications, necessities, shopping and service, transportation. In some cases, you also have a small image database, but you know, not in every one. But if I just go to, let's see here, we've got mosque etiquette, and then I can just go in, and you can see you'll have a little English explanation of what to expect, and then you'll have the video in 2 formats. Okay, what this is going to do is it's going to go on, and you're going to actually be able to go inside and then see the mosque and everything, and have that whole experience. And then, you know, what you can do with a learning object like this is just amazing in terms of just the language. I mean, just the image itself. For me, the image databases are the most valuable learning tools that I can have in the classroom. But then with this, it's culturally authentic. What happened with Langmedia all over the world, they sent the students home with a video camera. They brought this video back. They did the transcriptions of transactions and activities that really, you know, there's no substitute for video and audio, and then you know, for this you can't really get much better. So Langmedia was one of our early Editor's Choice Awards. Okay, and so basically, I guess what I'm trying to say here is that the way that I think that the centers and MERLOT can interact is first of all, we are always available to come and do professional development. We're very happy to come and do workshops. The best way to really get people to understand MERLOT can be done in a half-day workshop, and in a lab setting where everybody's hands-on. I hope some of you didn't resist the urge to go in yourself, www.merlot.org, and just look at what's in there. And then basically what we do is we teach how to search and browse effectively. I haven't even gone through the tip of the iceberg in terms of the way that you can search Merlot. As you can see here, we've got a federated search. You can search Merlot by itself, but you also can search our partners, and in the open materials, open access materials, we've got the Open Courseware Consortium, OER Commons. We also search connections, which we saw this morning. Before that, Merlot was also involved in Globe Partners, which is Ariadne, which they consider themselves the European Union version of Merlot. They're our cousin. Edna Online in Australia, Lornet in Quebec, and we also have the Open University of Japan as well. We have pedagogy collections, faculty development collections that deal more with how you can use the new tools, particularly the Web 2.0 tools that we all teach, and other specific collections as well. So all of those things can be searched at the same time. You could search 2 or 3. I don't recommend searching more than 2 or 3 of these repositories at the same time, because it just takes a long time for it to come out. But it's nice because you can have a topic and then you can get different repositories. So let me see. I'm checking to see if I've gone over everything. We do have some open textbooks in languages. I'm afraid you're probably going to, if you talk to me in 6 months to a year from now, you're going to see many more and everything. But you certainly can search by open textbooks. And I don't know. I guess I should give you a chance to ask me some questions or make some comments.
I just wanted to say thank you on Lark at SDSU's perspective for today, but also just in general. As we've been developing some of our resources under our current grant cycle, Merlot has been extremely helpful, not just as a model of how to make something like this work, but literally giving us permission to use like your user agreement language, your Creative Commons stuff, all of that, just be able to port it over and adapt it for our needs. And for a guy like me, trying to figure out how to do that on my own would have been the whole 4-year cycle, probably, and would have been an unfinished project. So just in general, thank you, and I think we can all count on the actual offer of support that's been made here to be very real, which is good.
Thank you. Yes?
What's your funding model?
Well, see, that's interesting. Right now, yeah, and this sustainability is a big thing, but let me just tell you, we're talking about, and I'm so glad you asked. Okay, right now it's mostly CSU and the partners that you will find under About Us. You will find plenty of partners, and believe it or not, we are still adding campus partners. We started with those large system partners, and then we offered a little deal for campus partners where individual campuses could join, and we still do have some of those. But CSU really, because they believe in it, because they've got their big affordable textbook initiative, which you probably have heard of. I mean, they've stuck with Merlot. And that has made a big difference. But let me just say that I'm wearing this T-shirt, right? Okay, when I first came on with Merlot in 2000, I was supported. I got a lot of release time to build the collection. Okay, today in 2011, Northern Virginia Community College and the Virginia Community College system are no longer at the table in terms of partners, but I'm still the editor of Merlot. And I will always do this because of Jerry Hanley, the executive director of MERLOT, who has this vision that is all about what we're talking about in the open era. It's an important thing to do to change the world, and that's why I do it.
Do you think it's good branding for CSU? Do you think they see it as that?
Absolutely,
Institution?
sure,
Pretty well known.
sure. And it's so interesting because, you know, the comment that you get, the cocktail comment that you get all the time is, Merlot, it's so wonderful. It seems to be such an underutilized resource, right? You know, and well, we have 100,000 people who consider it's time to be a member, and it's good to be a member, and everything. But it is true. It is nice these days to have the chance to talk to people about the work that we're doing and how Merlot is really created by the users. You know, it's free, it's open, they create it.
You know how much Cal State puts into it? How much does it cost?
How much does it cost to do it? No, I don't know. I don't know those answers, but they'd be easy to get. But I mean, the executive director of Merlot is the chief technical officer in the chancellor's office at Cal State Long Beach. So the chancellor believes in Merlot. Yes.
This is going to sound incredibly ungracious, but I've just gone online over some of your Hindi materials, which is the language that I work in,
Yes.
and it's riddled with errors. So what is your quality control process?
Okay, well, you know, if you're looking at an individual, remember that anyone who has internet access can put something into Merlot. Okay, does it have a peer review?
I haven't got that far. I'm just
Okay, it could be that we haven't seen it yet. Okay, and if something, a lot of times what we'll do is we will contact the authors, because the author's right there and everything like that, and let them know. And in fact, in the peer review process, a lot of things get corrected. Now, because it's a free and open database, all kinds of things could go into Merlot. We do triage, and you know, in every triage cycle, we find a lot of that. But as big as it's getting, it does get difficult. Okay, but you know that if you see something there that has a peer review, that it's been looked at. Another thing that you can look at too is if a particular learning material has a large number of personal collections attached to it. That means individual users who are mostly in academics have looked at it, vetted it, and said it's fine. So if you see something has got 144 like Lang Media did, then you know that it's fine. But you know, please point that out to me. Okay, you've got access to my email right there in the member directory. So point that out to me, and I'll make sure that it gets looked at. And anybody else that finds any errors. Okay, yes.
How is Merlot different than your competitors, like OER Commons or the other kinds of repositories?
Well, see, now some of the repositories, like we were saying, like this morning, we learned that Connections is also getting into peer review. But I think that as the pioneer in this field, I think our peer review process is different. I mean, I think that probably is one of the major things that distinguishes us. And now we started to branch out. We have Merlot the collection, and then now Merlot the academic support services. So I mean, so those services too are something that I think that a lot of other groups don't really get involved with as much. And I think that some of that is driven by the fact that when you have partners, when you're being sustained by partner systems, and we still have some, like the University of Michigan, that is very loyal to us, you have to come up with those services. But everybody benefits from it, not just the people that are helping to sustain it. So I think that would be a major difference. Yes?
I hate to dwell on money, but does Michigan pay to be a member, or how does that?
Members pay. Members pay. And if you want to learn about what they're paying and all of that, the best place to look, I'm going to go right to it, is about us, and then you can see institutional partners, corporate partners, digital libraries, all of that is here for you to see. In fact, I really recommend, if you want to go into this little, dig deeper, peel the onion a little bit, this About Us is going to really be helpful to you. I'm pretty focused at this point and stage of the game on the collection and less on the sustainability, because as far as I'm concerned, as long as it's there, I'll continue to work on it for no money. Okay.
Okay, so we will have like a good long break this time. We're a little bit ahead of schedule, so 20-minute break. Thank you, Laura.
Okay, you're welcome.